Hi, everyone. First of all, please let me clarify and confirm that this session is recorded and will be available on YouTube and Facebook. So if you don't like to be recorded, I will kindly ask you to leave. So thank you today for joining our session today. And we are really pleased to have a very special guest today with us, Anthony Mashford, who is a Microsoft MVP with more than 20 years of experience. So, hello, Anthony. It's nice to see you here today.
Hey, Mohammed. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's a great. Okay, so if we, I think we will start maybe by congratulating your renewal for your MVP. That's really great.
Thank you, and to you as well.
Yeah.
I think we were all a little bit on edge, let's say, last week. But
Yes,
yes, it's
exactly.
yeah. No, it's nice to have it renewed and recognised. It's a privilege.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so before we start, let me give you a quick overview about our community and also our audience. So, what is the mentor program? The mentor program is a private community. So, we have more or around 100 members, and we have diversity of experience. So, we have people still students in the last year of university, and we have people with 30 years of experience. So, there is a lot of different experience in our community. And also, we have people from different locations. So we have people in the Middle East, we have people from Europe, and also US, Canada, and Australia as well. And all we grouping, we try to exchange information and building knowledge across all our community. And we helping also the public community, for example, like our public session like this, and also other sessions. So we have two GitHub repo to maintain our community and activities. We have our public repo, which has a silver medal. We achieved silver medal since sometimes, and we are seeking or looking forward to have the golden medal, hopefully in the near future. And we have also a private repo on GitHub, which has our user profile. We have like our skills. So, it's like working as a resource pool where you can understand what are our capabilities of our resources and community to help each other. We have several benefits and activities like job referral, knowledge base with solving technical issues. We have one-to-one mentorship for our members. There is some certain benefits and activities, building asset for our inner source. And also we have several activities like guest speaker, which is our session today, as inviting you and having you, some soft skills and other activities. And we have like an annual calendar which like around two activities per month. This is of course our guest speaker today, which is in July, and we have another meetup in July as well. Next week we will have several activities and all our agenda, the details on the GitHub, which including everything. Okay, enough talking about our community. Let's start, talking here, seeing you. Okay, so let me stop sharing my screen and then I will start. So, okay, if we can start by telling us more about you, who you are, what you are doing, where are you based, and what your current role, and so on.
Sure. Anthony Mashford. My current role is I work as a cloud solutions architect focused on Azure in the NetApp EMEA Azure Business Group. So even though I work for NetApp and I'm paid by NetApp, I'm actually all about Azure. So that's my current role. I work with customers with technical pre-sales to help them understand the Azure platform, most importantly, Azure NetApp Files. That is my primary focus, as well as other storage offerings within Azure. And I do support both Microsoft and the wider NetApp teams with pre-sales activities.
That's great. Okay, so you have really impressive and very long experience. And before asking you a question regarding this expertise, please let me know. I would like to know your story, your journey. Uh, how do you become what you are now? Like, and eventually, and an MVP.
How did I become what I am now? Blimey. Yeah, so I've been in this industry over 20 years, but it's not my first career. In fact, actually, it's my third career. My first career was as a fisherman. So
Okay.
I I wasn't that good at school. Let's just say I wasn't a very good pupil. And for a few reasons, but I was very ill in my final school year, so I missed my exams. And uh, back then, there wasn't any second chances. You literally needed to move on and find work. So where I grew up in the south of England, in a county of Cornwall, I lived in a small fishing village. There was a fishing fleet. I got a job working on fishing boats, and I really enjoyed it in the summer months, but
Yeah.
in the winter months, let's just say it was a bit more challenging. I got told of getting up early in the morning and getting wet.
Yeah.
So there was an option to join the military. So I joined Her Majesty's, what was then Her Majesty's, now His Majesty's Royal Marines.
Yeah.
And then I quickly realised I still had to get up early in the morning and get cold and wet. So I didn't think that through very well. I served for 10 years in the military. I had a family, a young family and children, and at the time there wasn't much opportunity for progression.
Yeah.
And that was the only way you could improve your salaries. So I looked around and I didn't know what to do, if I was honest, because I didn't know anything other than really the military.
Yeah.
The back then there is a great what they call resettlement process, and back then I was quite lucky. There was the officer in charge of resettlement kind of took me to one side and said, look, you really need to decide what you're going to do, otherwise you're going to walk out the door and not have anything. So he threw a load of things at me, and one of those was studying computer science.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and thought, I've never even turned a computer on. Anyway, fast forward 20 odd years and here we are. So yeah,
Yeah.
I left the military. I got a placement with a company which funded my studies, and I went and did a diploma in computer science and engineering. And then from then I got a job as a field engineer. And since then I've had various roles on help desks, as a networking engineer, progressing into consultancy in data centers. I spent 5-6 years in data centers, which I really enjoyed, and just built up my experience over time. I think my first architect role came after about 14 years of work. So I kind of served my apprenticeship, if you see what I mean. I
Yeah.
started as a field engineer running around plugging in memory modules and hard drives. And then through various roles, like I said, help desks and into consultancy and then into architecture, and then kind of fell into pre-sales work probably about 8 years ago now. So I'm still relatively technical,
Yeah.
but my main focus is pre-sales. So yeah, that's kind of my journey.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really great. Okay, I think we have many people here or listen to us who is like doing career shift. So I think we have also some question or few questions for career shift, and we will get to that questions. Okay, so do you have like a turning point in your professional career when you start thinking like a changing in your mindset and you start successing more, or perhaps maybe more than turning point, or
Well, look, I think there was one huge turning point with my career, and it was linked to the public cloud.
yeah,
Um, as I said, I worked in data centers for several years. Whilst at one of those data centers, the CEO of the company was looking obviously at public cloud and whether or not it was a threat to his business. And I led the Microsoft consulting team. And there was two teams, one Microsoft team, one an open source team. Myself and the open source guy started to, look at these hyperscalers, which were in their infancy back then. We're talking 2011, 2012. And we had to report back on our opinions and whether or not it was a threat, etc. So I obviously, because of the technology that I worked with was more Microsoft focused. Azure was only a year or two in its deployment. I gravitated that way. The other guy gravitated towards AWS, and we both collaborated and worked closely together anyway. But essentially, we reported back that yes, this is a threat, but it was also an opportunity. So I think as a turning point in my career, that from 2012 was my first interaction with Azure, and I worked full time in Azure since 2014. But yeah, as a turning point, that was huge because I went from lifting heavy bits of tin in and out of a rack, running miles of cable, plugging in all sorts of things, to literally touching nothing, and I love it. I love the fact that I could create a whole infrastructure from the comfort of my own keyboard. So that for me was one of the biggest turning points.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so is there a strategies you use to prioritize your tasks and responsibility, especially when there is many competing, and we usually, as you grow up or as we grow in our work, there is a lot of things on our plate and so
on. Yes, I think this resonates with me quite well because in my day-to-day job, I am extremely busy. I work in a very capable, but let's say small team. So our time is in demand quite a bit. And for me, I think one of the biggest skills you need to learn is to be able to say no. Okay, to be able to actually, work in your mind your priorities and say somebody, I'm sorry, but, and then, but I think I have a very sort of guarded approach.